Is all difficulty necessary? Like, does God really have to give us all the different difficulties in our life? Because I don't know, it doesn't seem like all of it is. Hey guys, thanks for joining us here on Espresso with Sky, where you'll get a fresh perspective on faith, life, God, and the Bible. My name is Pastor Sky. Here are my sidekicks Chewy and John Wick. Now, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead, hit all those buttons, subscribe, like whatever it is, but most importantly, leave a comment below. We really want to hear what you think about today's topic. Now, if you want to support us, our ministry, we have PayPal and buymeacoffee.com, and yes, you can buy me a cup of coffee, all right? So, let's get into today's topic. Difficulty happens in every stage of life, and we talked about this before in another video, and we talked about, sometimes we just don't know, sometimes we have mistakes, we don't do responsibilities, we have sin. There's a bunch of reasons why difficulties come, but let's put those aside, and the question is, God, why do you still give us difficulties? Like, you look throughout the scriptures, they haven't done anything wrong, but God is putting difficulty into their life. Is it necessary? Isn't there a better way, God? So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on 3 reasons why God still has to give us difficulty. The first reason why God gives us difficulty is because that's the way He works. We're interacting with an invisible God. He is spirit and we are in the flesh. So we can't see Him and we can't hear Him. So how does God interact? He interacts through our environment. What does He do? He gives us difficulty to lead us to another place. If you look at a verse like Acts chapter 16, verse 7 and 8, even at that point, God is stopping people from going somewhere and leading them to another place. Yeah, there are times we want to do something and then God gives us difficulty so we can't do it, and we end up going the place where God wants us to go. It's the way that God works. It's one of the hardest things that we're trying to figure out in your faith is, how do I interact with this invisible God? Sometimes we do wish inside we're like, God, can you hear me? And then you hear His voice like, yes, this is God. Actually, that kind of sounds like Darth Vader.
Director Krennic.
Right? So you kind of wish you could hear Him. You kind of wish you could see Him saying, no, don't go this way. But it's never like that. We're not prophets. We're not Jesus. We interact with God in a different way. And what does God do? God changes the environment around us and gives us difficulty, so we move to another place instead. What's the first reason? It's the way God interacts with us, and we have to recognize when God is leading us to another place. The second reason why God gives us difficulty, it helps us to move faster. And you think to yourself is like, yeah, I think difficulty actually makes me move slower, not faster, but not in all situations. Think about this. Imagine you're on a boat. You're on a sailboat in the middle of the ocean and it is calm, no winds, no waves. It's just relaxing. What happens? Yes, you're relaxed, you're comfortable, but the boat is just kind of floating on and you're not moving towards your destination. However, if the storm comes and the winds and the waves and the rains, what happens? With that sailboat, when the wind comes, it pushes the boat faster towards its destination. Difficulty makes you move faster in this situation. Think about this. Imagine school project, work project. Things are going and working, but all of a sudden, boom, something falls through. It gets destroyed. It doesn't work. What does everyone on the team do? We get more alert. We get more awake, and we start moving faster, trying to fix how are we going to do this. It makes us move faster when we're too comfortable. It's like the Olympics too. We just had the Olympics, and what happens? Imagine watching a soccer match. It's your country. It's Team Canada. We're down by 1 goal with 2 minutes left. What's going to happen to the players? The players are going to move more frantically. They're going to move more quicker, more powerfully. And even me, as a spectator, do you know what's going faster? My heartbeat's going to be going. Why? Because it's like, oh my gosh, it's difficulty. We got to do better. But imagine if we flip the script. Imagine if it's 5-0 with 1 minute left. What do you think the player's going to do? Hey guys, here, pass the ball. All right, okay, everything moves to slow motion. People become too comfortable and they become lazy. Why does God give us difficulty? The second reason is because it helps us to move faster. The third and the last reason why God gives us difficulties is to open our hearts and our minds. You know, in the past, we prayed to God. In the past, we're like, God, please, I have a dream. I have this wish that I really want to fulfill. And it's something like, oh, I've always wanted this. And God says, all right, I'll give it to you. And what God does is, God is going to fulfill His promise. But the problem with human beings is this. We don't really finish until the end, and somewhere in the middle, you get a little bit tired and you begin to settle. And you're like, okay, God, this is good enough. But God is like, no, I promised you. I promised you, and I will bring you to fulfill your dreams. And what happens is when we settle, we close our hearts and our minds. So what does God do? God gives us difficulty to crack it open again. And we're like, wait, how does difficulty crack open, open your mind again? Think about the pandemic. The one thing I heard that's really amazing is people talk about they lost their job during the pandemic. However, it opened their eyes to thinking about what is the thing that I really wanted, and they find the better job. They find the job that they've always wanted. Even in that difficulty, it forced people to lose their jobs, but it enabled them to learn new things, new skills, or get that job that they've always wanted. It opens your mind again. Once that difficulty hits, you lose something, it forces you to, hey, you know what? Let me look for something better. You know what? Let me learn a new skill. You know what? Let me have a better relationship with my parents. I need a better relationship with my wife or my husband or my children. And it begins to open their hearts and their minds again from that settled, closed heart. God, He gives us difficulty for only the best reasons. And those dreams, those hopes that you wanted to fulfill, God will fulfill them. It's just that you settled along the way, and God needs to open you up again. And what happens? During that difficulty, you open up and like, oh, yeah, this is what I've always wanted. And it helps you to move to the next level again. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today on our special with Sky. I hope you guys really enjoyed today's topic, those 3 reasons why God gives us difficulty. If you want to support this ministry, we have PayPal and buymeacoffee.com. And this will bring us to the end of today's episode. Everyone have an awesome week, and we'll see you guys again next week. I'm Pastor Sky, it's Chewy, and John Wick. Have a great day.